Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Michelle Silverman Bedell from Silverson's Realty.
Leslie Jones, attorney.
And Marie Esposito, unfortunately, couldn't make it today, but she will see us next week. So today we're going to be speaking about investment properties and what to look for when you're thinking of buying an investment property, and really what is an investment property. So the mortgage or the financing aspect, Maria will speak about next week, and there are different options, I think, depending on which lender you use. But we really just want to have just a general overview of what it is and what people are looking for. So what is an investment property? And it's something, it's not your primary residence, right? You're either going to buy it as a rental property where you're expecting passive income, or you're going to buy a property to hold on to it for a while, and hopefully you'll profit once you sell. And that could be a residential home, it could be a condominium, co-op less so because you have problems renting it out, or a lot of restrictions, or a commercial property as well as an industrial property, which I think is becoming very popular today for investment, as well as land, right? There's a limited supply of land, so people want to buy it, hold on to it. When the market is good, they may develop it.
Or also mixed use. I don't know if you said that, which sometimes has stores and then apartments over it, which is a great combination and a great investment, because you're making income in two different ways, and if you can't fill a storefront, you're still getting money from rentals, which there's a strong rental residential market right now.
Really, it is. There are a lot of rentals around, but there's depending where you are, and I'll speak about that in a second. It really is a very good way of receiving money. I think what you have to really be concerned about when you invest the property, you have to, it has to cover your expenses, right? Your monthly and your yearly expenses. So you have to factor in your insurance, which is becoming really problematic in many areas. The rates of insurance are really skyrocketing. And in many areas you can't even get insurance. As well as taxes, you have to be concerned with your taxes, how much your utilities are, whether you have oil or gas, or your electric bills, as well as your common areas. You have to factor that in if you're dealing with a building or a commercial property, as well as maintenance and future repairs, or present repairs when you first buy the property. So you have to factor that all in when you're thinking about your investment, your rate of investment, your rate of your ROI, or your rate of return. So you have to really factor that all in. And I think the biggest negative about an investment property is you have to decide if you want to be a landlord, right? You have to be available to your clients, your tenants, whether it be residential or commercial, and you have to deal with ongoing maintenance and repairs, and unexpected maintenance and repairs, and calls in the middle of the night. So you really, unless you hire a management company and you want to be very hands-on, you have to really be willing to take on these responsibilities.
And you also have to vet the people the tenants that you're bringing in, both commercial and residential, making sure maybe that they have some experience, meaning like if you're bringing in some store or office, that they have a reasonable amount of experience and they're not just starting up,
right?
And that their credit is okay, and it's important to vet those people to make sure you know what you're getting. We just were having a discussion last night about bringing in like a convenience store, and it turned out, a convenience store in a commercial space wasn't really a convenience store.
Right.
It wasn't zoned properly, and really they were selling things that they shouldn't have. So, these are things that, you really want to make sure who you're getting in as a tenant, because it's extremely hard to evict someone.
Right.
It's easier in a commercial setting, but residential is very difficult and is very tenant friendly. So you want to, and there's a lot of ways you can, manage the court system. If you have a tenant who knows how to manipulate the court system,
right.
you can certainly delay
right.
An eviction. So you really want to make sure you know who you're getting, and if you're taking on something where there's tenants in it that you're sort of assuming lawsuits, that may be something to step away from before you take on that type of investment.
Right.
Because it could take a year to get someone out.
Right. I also think, let's say if you're looking at a strip center or shopping center, you want to complement, if you're bringing in one tenant, you want to complement the other people in the shopping center, so it becomes a very strong investment even for yourself and the other people, the people who are renting. The tenants will be happy to stay there, and they want to have a long-term lease. So you really want to look at the whole picture. I think though, when you're buying an investment, especially if you're looking to buy, let's say, a condominium or a residential home, you want to factor in, you want to really consider the following items. You want to look at the neighborhood. You want to make sure it's a stable neighborhood. You want to look at vacancy rates in the area, and and it will also help determine the kind of tenant you want. So if you want to look at schools, and if you're buying a residential home, people who you're renting to would probably be most likely a family, or a couple, or a single person, but they want to know that the area is safe. They want to know that the schools are highly rated. They want to know that there's low crime in the area. So these are all different things you have to consider. You may also want to consider the job market. Like, is something new being developed in the area? Is a new corporation coming into the area that will bring in tenants? So these are different factors that you really have to look at, as well as the amenities in the area. Are there parks nearby? Are there shopping centers? Are there restaurants, gyms? This will bring in tenants because people today want to have convenience. They want to know if they're renting in a building, if the building doesn't have a gym, is there a gym nearby? Do you have parks? Do you have dog parks? Do you have restaurants in the area? Do you have groceries? So these are very important things that you have to consider when you're considering a rental property, in it, as well as future development and zoning, right? What else is being built in your area that could compete with you when you're thinking of rental properties? I mean, when you look at Westchester County, every city and town has a huge amount of new rental developments. So this is something you want to consider if you're thinking of buying, let's say, a condominium to rent out. You want to look at the number of listings in the area, the vacancies, and you have to consider the area if there are natural disasters. In this area, we don't have to worry about it so much, but in an area like Florida, or in an area where there are a lot of earthquakes, you want to really consider if you want to invest in that area, because your insurance rates can be very high. So I think that all these different factors, it's not just buying an area. You really have to look at the whole picture when you're taking in an investment, and really consider, what your rate of return will be too. Now, some people want to make more money, some people are happy with less, and you also have to think of how long you want to keep the property and hold the investment for.
Makes sense to me. And also, one of the other things maybe to look at is, certainly in the residential, is parking. And sometimes you can even rent out parking to other. If there's a lot of availability, you can rent out other spots, make money that way as well. So that's something maybe to also look at in the residential fields, or even parking with investment. If you're buying a shopping center and there's no parking, it's really difficult, because people will go to the next shopping center if they can't park.
Right.
For me, it's all about the parking.
For me, well, it's convenient. I mean, it's very easy. I have storefronts now I'm trying to rent out, and the first question they ask, which is a good point, is how many parking spaces will I be entitled to? Also utilities. Will the landlord pay for the utilities, whether it be water, the heat, electric? So these are a lot of different factors you have to consider when you're buying an income or an investment property. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to give us a call, email, write to us, and we'll see you next week on the Instagram Live next Friday. Have a great weekend.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.